How's it going, Oaks? Welcome back to the Fight Scene YouTube channel, and I am doing another video just chatting some rubbish, so hopefully you enjoy this one. Today we are going to be talking about why we are in the greatest era of UFC champions at the moment. Guys, we are lucky at the moment. We are very lucky because we have got some insane champions, and it is also just such a special time in the UFC with the champions. Because, yeah, they're good champions, and not a single American champion in the men's division for the first time in I don't even know how many years, ever, probably. So yeah, that's pretty special. You should know all your champions, but in case you don't, I will tell you a bit about them, or at least put them up here. But we've got Pantoja from Brazil in the flyweight division, Alexandre Pantoja. Such a good fighter, always puts on epic fights. Bantamweight, Merab Dvalishvili from Georgia. Can't exactly say he's the most exciting champ, but he's active, so that counts for something. Featherweight, Alex Volkanovski is back on his throne at featherweight, which is good to see. He's obviously exciting and decently active as well. Lightweight, obviously just got crowned now, Ilia Topuria. Obviously he's exciting, everyone knows that. He is also from Georgia, Spain. I don't know which flag he actually fights under anymore, to be honest, but he's from everywhere. Volk, obviously from Australia. Then welterweight, Jack Della Maddalena, also from Australia. 2 Australian champions, which is pretty crazy. Obviously JDM, sick fighter, good boxer. Hopefully he can get active in the welterweight division, because between Leon Edwards and Bilal, it was pretty stagnant. Then middleweight, the greatest champion, in my humble opinion, Dricus du Plessis. Obviously from South Africa, the GOAT. Who doesn't love him? He fights he always has epic fights. He always puts on good fights. Always loves a finish. Obviously he doesn't always finish his opponent, as seen with Strickland, but he always puts on a good time. So yeah, I can't wait for his fight against Howzit, where he's going to shock the world. Then light heavyweight, Ankalaev, obviously from Russia, Dagestan. Not too much of a fan of him, to be honest. But we'll see. Obviously, he did beat the fan favorite Pereira, who I'd rather have as champion, Poatan. But you can't always get what you want. But we'll see who he fights next and how he fights. And then obviously heavyweight, newly crowned Tom Aspinall, finally the undisputed champ. He's obviously so sick, and he needs to get in that octagon. He said he's only waiting till October, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, I guess he just needs to get in camp. Please, bro, please fight before the end of the year. He better fight. He says he wants to fight October, so I guess we'll see. And then even looking at the strawweight division for the women's, Zhang Weili, obviously she's sick. Flyweight, Shevchenko, and now bantamweight, Kayla Harrison. So the women's champs are even sick. Kayla Harrison, the only American there, if you're doing all the champs. But guys, we are in a special era because we have got some cool champs, some active champs, and not a single American in the men's rankings, which is quite cool. It's quite cool to see a sport that was so traditionally dominated. I mean, you could say traditionally dominated by the Americans. I guess actually no, not really. I guess you kind of think, UFC American promotion maybe dominated by Americans, but I mean, you look at some of the pioneers of the UFC, and not all of them are American. Obviously John Jones and DC and Stipe, but then you've got Jose Aldo, Anderson Silva, Conor McGregor. Even if you want to go back to the beginning, Gracie, I'm pretty sure, Brazilian. So I don't know if it's necessarily a traditionally dominated by Americans, but there's always been American champions. So it is kind of crazy to see how much the sport has branched out, that you have 2 Georgian champs, which is pretty crazy, 2 Australian champs, a South African champ, and then obviously a British champ as well. So yeah, I mean, seeing Brazilian champ and Russian champ isn't that different necessarily, but the rest of them are. So that's flipping cool, and I'm loving where the UFC is in that sort of direction, how it's branching out. There's been a lot of complaints about the UFC recently, but I think Oaks also got to take into account that the UFC can only is responsible for so much. At the end of the day, it also comes down to the fighters, because the fighters also say shit like Josh Emmett just said, I only want to fight big fights. Who the are you, dude? You've just lost or he's like 1-3 in his last 4 or something like that. Topuria beat the shit out of him. Lerone Murphy beat him. And then, obviously, he did knock out Bryce Mitchell, and I think he's lost his other one. But, dude, he's like 40 years old, and he's saying I only want big fights, and he's just turned down a fight with Yusuf Zalal. Like, that's an up-and-comer. That's a fight that needs to be made. The young need to come and fight the old so we can clear out these divisions. But then you got fighters saying they only want to fight big fights. And that's not just Emmett. That is a lot of fighters that say that. You know, even Gagey and stuff saying, I'm retiring if I don't fight for the title. A lot of Oaks have that mindset these days. Even Paddy wanting to fight for the title. Like, a lot of Oaks have a mindset that just because they're on a win streak or something, that they are entitled to the title shot. But everyone's also been tuning Paddy because he has a combined record. His opponents have a combined record of 0-13 in their last whatever, dude. Like, last 5 or whatever it was leading up to that, I don't know. But yeah, Oaks just win a couple fights and want to fight for the title, so that holds up division. So it's not always the UFC's fault, but I do agree we are in somewhat of a decline at the moment. But I think it's picking back up. UFC 318 is dog shit though, which doesn't help the case, but then Abu Dhabi's good. You know, so I'll stop complaining at some point, but hopefully there's another banger that gets added to 318 because that would be pretty cool. But yeah, Oaks, my favorite champion is obviously Dricus because he's the GOAT. If I'm being not biased, I still think Dricus is the best champ. But yeah, otherwise my favorite champ is a tough one. Pantoja or JDM probably. But yeah, Oaks, we're in a good era. So I like that we're diversifying champs and we've got some fun champs. Let's get Marab and let's get Uncle Ive out of there. Unfortunately, I don't think anyone beats Marab at the moment, which is bleak. Corey Sandhagen. But yeah, that's another fun one today, Oaks. Thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll check you in the next one.